My whole life came crashing down yesterday afternoon with a single text message. It wasn't a breakup text or a confession or anything that would have made sense. It was just a picture of a receipt from a downtown pawn shop. At first, I was confused. Why would my fiancée, Jenna, send me this? Then I zoomed in on the item description: 1.5 carat diamond solitaire ring, 14K white gold. It took a second for the words to sink in, and when they did, my blood ran cold. It was my grandmother's engagement ring, the one I had given Jenna 6 months earlier, the one that had been in my family for 3 generations. The payout was for $4,500. Right there, on a dirty little receipt, was the evidence of a betrayal so deep it made me feel physically sick. But that wasn't even the worst part. Underneath the picture, another text bubble popped up. Trip to Costa Rica with Marco is booked. He's more fun. Marco was her ex. It was a 1-2 punch that knocked the wind right out of me. She didn't just sell a priceless family heirloom. She did it to run off with her ex-boyfriend, and she sent me the proof herself to rub it in my face. I just stared at my phone for what felt like an eternity. The screen was glaring, the light burning my eyes, but I couldn't look away. My heart was pounding in my ears. I didn't reply. I didn't get angry. I didn't even yell. I just stood up, my body moving on autopilot, walked over to my laptop, and opened the airline confirmation email for the trip I had booked for us to Hawaii next month. Then I opened a new tab. I pulled up the flight details she had forwarded me just last week for her girls' trip, the one she was leaving for in 2 days. It was all under my frequent flyer account, paid for with my miles and my credit card for the taxes and fees. I found the confirmation number, 7G4B9E, and with a click that felt strangely final, I hit the cancel flight button. The system asked if I was sure. I didn't hesitate for a second. Yes. A new page loaded. Your cancellation is confirmed. A credit of $874 has been applied to your account. I didn't send her a text. I didn't call her. I didn't say a word. I just sat there, looking at the confirmation, feeling a strange sense of calm. The ticket she had booked with my money was for a flight that no longer existed. It was a one-way trip, too. She had said her friends were driving back. The ticket she had just lost was the only way she was getting there. And with that, I just waited. I figured I had about 48 hours until the bomb went off. The first hint of trouble didn't come from Jenna. It came from my sister, Laura, later that night. Her voice was tight with a weird kind of anger. "I just got off the phone with Mom," she said, skipping the usual pleasantries. "She's hysterical. She said Jenna called her, crying, saying you two had a huge fight and that you're holding her hostage emotionally." I took a deep breath. The smear campaign had already begun. "There was no fight, Laura," I said, my voice calm. "I haven't spoken to her since yesterday afternoon." "Well, she's telling everyone you lost your mind because she's going on a trip with her friends," Laura pressed. "She said you threatened to throw her out." This was Jenna's classic move, preemptive victimhood. She would create a crisis, then frame herself as the target of someone else's irrational reaction. But I wasn't going to play that game. "Laura, she's not going on a trip with her friends," I said. I could hear the confusion in my sister's silence. "She's going to Costa Rica with her ex-boyfriend, Marco. She paid for it by selling Grandma's engagement ring." The silence that followed was heavy and absolute. Laura and I were close, and she had adored our grandmother. The ring was more than just a piece of jewelry to our family. It was a legacy. "She did what?" Laura finally whispered, the words sharp with disbelief. I didn't say another word. I just forwarded her the screenshot of the pawn shop receipt and Jenna's text message. I heard a sharp intake of breath on the other end of the line. "Oh my God," she said. "That monster. Are you okay?" "I'm fine," I said. For the most part, it was true. The initial shock and hurt had burned away, leaving behind a cold, hard clarity. But this is just the beginning. She's going to try to paint me as the villain in this story to everyone we know. Laura was quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice had changed. The concern was still there, but it was edged with steel. "No, she's not," she said firmly. "She's not going to get away with this. I'm going to call her mother." I tried to tell her not to, that it would only escalate things, but my sister is a force of nature when she feels her family has been wronged. She hung up before I could protest further. This was the first major escalation, pulling the families into it. I knew Jenna's parents, the Millers, had a carefully curated image of their perfect daughter and her perfect life. A daughter who pawns a family heirloom to run off with her ex didn't fit that image. About an hour later, my phone rang. It was an unknown number, but I had a pretty good idea who it was. I answered and put it on speaker. "Is this my name?" a stern male voice asked. "This is Tom Miller, Jenna's father." He sounded like a man who was used to solving problems by making angry phone calls. "I just had a very disturbing conversation with your sister. I'd like to hear your side of the story because, frankly, I don't believe a word of it." "There's not much of a story to tell, Mr. Miller," I said, keeping my tone level. "Your daughter sold an irreplaceable family heirloom to fund a trip with her ex-boyfriend. She sent me the receipt herself. I can forward it to you if you'd like." I heard a woman's voice murmuring in the background. "His wife, probably trying to coach him. Jenna says you two had an argument and you took the ring back," he blustered. "She says you're making this all up to punish her for wanting a little freedom before the wedding." This was my moment. The foundation of my entire defense was evidence. I had the pawn shop receipt she had stupidly sent me. But I'd gone one step further. I'd called the pawn shop that afternoon. I spoke to a guy named Stan, the manager. I explained the situation, that a ring with immense sentimental value had been sold without my consent. He was sympathetic but firm. "Look, man, the sale is final." She had ID. She signed the paperwork. "It's a legal transaction. We already paid her out." But then he offered me a small lifeline. "I can't give you the ring back, but per our policy and state law, we have to keep detailed records. If you file a police report for theft, they can subpoena the security footage and the signed bill of sale. Her signature on our official document right next to the description of the ring." I didn't need to file a report. Not yet. The threat was enough. "Mr. Miller," I said, "the pawn shop has Jenna on security videos selling the ring. They also have a bill of sale with her signature on it, timestamped at 2:17 p.m. yesterday. I have the manager's name and number. Would you like it? Or should I just give it to the police when I report the ring as stolen?" The line went dead quiet. The murmuring in the background stopped. Tom Miller was a businessman. He understood contracts, signatures, and evidence. He understood liability. He knew I had him. And by extension, he knew I had Jenna. "That won't be necessary," he said. After a long pause, his voice suddenly stripped of all its bluster. "Let me talk to my daughter." He hung up the phone. The consequence of her lies was that she was now trapped. Her parents knew the truth, and they knew I had the proof to make it public and legal if I wanted to. The next day was the day she was supposed to leave for her trip. My phone was silent all morning. No calls from Jenna, no texts, nothing. I could only imagine the frantic, circular arguments happening at her parents' house. Then around 3 p.m., the social media offensive began. I got a text from our mutual friend, Kevin. "Dude, what is going on? Jenna's blowing up the group chat. Says you canceled her flight and stole her money." Kevin forwarded me screenshots from their beach week planning chat. It was a disaster. Jenna had posted a screenshot of the flight cancellation email I had received. She was framing it as an act of pure evil. "He's a controlling psychopath," one of her texts read. "He waited until the last minute to cancel my ticket just to hurt me. I'm stranded." Her friend Amy was all over it. "That's so messed up. You need to get away from him." Others were chiming in with messages of support. She had conveniently left out the part about the engagement ring. She was banking on the idea that I wouldn't want to air our dirty laundry in a group chat. She was wrong. I wasn't going to argue with them. I was just going to present the facts. I replied directly to Kevin and our other close friend in the chat, Mark. I didn't post to the whole group. I sent them a private message. "Hey guys, here's the context Jenna conveniently forgot to include. I attached two images. The first was the screenshot she had sent me of the pawn shop receipt. The second was a picture I had of my grandmother smiling, wearing the exact same ring at her 50th wedding anniversary party. Below the pictures, I wrote one simple paragraph. She sold my grandmother's ring to go to Costa Rica with her ex, Marco. She sent me this receipt to rub it in my face. The flight she's mad about wasn't her money. It was booked using my credit card and my flyer miles for a girl's trip. It was my ticket to cancel. I'm not a monster. I'm just done being played for a fool. The response was immediate. Mark replied first. Holy crap. I am so sorry, man. We had no idea. She's been telling us you've been acting jealous and crazy for weeks. Kevin's text came a minute later. Wow. Just wow. That's not okay. I'm officially out of this drama. You have my support. The consequence of her social media smear was that she exposed herself to the people whose opinions she thought she could control. By providing clear, undeniable proof, I hadn't just defended myself. I had annihilated her credibility. The chat went quiet. She had lost her audience. For the next 2 weeks, there was nothing. A profound and welcome silence. I changed the locks on my apartment. I packed up all of her remaining things, clothes, books, makeup, into boxes and put them in my storage unit. I called the caterer and the wedding venue and canceled everything, managing to get most of my deposits back thanks to the cancellation clauses in the contracts. I sent Jenna a cashier's check for her share of the deposits minus the cost of the ring. I included a copy of the ring's original insurance appraisal for $12,000 and a note that read, "We can consider the remaining $7,500 your final settlement. Do not contact me again." I started to feel like I could breathe again. The anger was fading, replaced by a quiet sense of relief. I had dodged a cannonball. I started going to the gym again, met up with Mark and Kevin for a beer, and started to piece my life back together. I thought it was over. Then came the third and final escalation. It was a Tuesday night, nearly 3 weeks after she was supposed to have left. I was watching a movie when my phone rang with a blocked number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to answer. I picked up. "Hello," I said. There was a sniffle on the other end, and then a voice I barely recognized, cracked and hoarse. It was Jenna. "I need your help," she sobbed. "Please, I'm stuck." My blood went cold. "Where are you?" I asked, my voice flat. "I'm at a bus station in San Jose," she cried, the words tumbling out between sobs. "Marco left me. He took all the cash. He left me here 2 days ago. I have nothing. My phone is about to die. Please, you have to help me. I have no way to get home." So this was it. The final act. The trip had imploded, just as I knew it would. Marco, the guy who was more fun, had shown his true colors. He was fun right up until the pawn shop money ran out. Now she was stranded in a foreign country, and she was calling me. The man whose family heirloom she sold. The man she tried to destroy. She was calling me for a ride home. I listened to her cry for a minute. I let the silence hang in the air, heavy and thick with all the lies and betrayal. She was begging, her voice filled with a desperation that was probably real, but it meant nothing to me anymore. My empathy for her had been burned away, replaced by a deep, unwavering resolve. "Jenna," I said, and my voice was calm. "Sounds like you should call Marco." I waited a beat. "He's more fun." I hung up the phone, and then I blocked her number.